The steering wheel nag seems to have changed when doing an auto lane change while using Enhanced Autopilot in the UK. Is this an undocumented change in over-the-air update 2025.38 or something else?
I'm in my Tesla Model Y, as you can see, and yesterday I had to go to Southampton to look at a LDV EV80 van that was having problems. And for me, that's about an hour and 15 either way, and it was all on this road, the A34, the M3, and I think the M27. But anyway, I drove on autopilot nearly all the way there for at least an hour, and something's changed. It was very different. So what I found is when I've got it in autopilot, let's just do a navigation, and I want to go to the Oxford chargers. There we go. That's now going to use navigate on autopilot, and I'll knock the speed up to 70. What I found is it's no longer nagging me to touch the steering wheel. Obviously that change came a little while ago because it uses the internal camera. However, when you're using auto lane change, it was still needing a little touch on the steering wheel. And yesterday, for the first time, I found it didn't ask that. I didn't have to touch the steering wheel at all. In fact, over an hour's driving, I only had to touch the steering wheel 3 times. And that has never happened in this car before. So I don't know whether it was software version 2025.38, which I've had for nearly 2 weeks now. Look at that. It was asking me to touch the wheel. I haven't. I've just put my hands near the steering wheel. So yeah, it's now Friday. So on Monday, that will be 2 weeks since I've had .38. And I'm sure I've used autopilot in the last 2 weeks. But I haven't noticed any change until yesterday. So I did an hour's drive and I only had to touch the steering wheel 3 times. So as you've just seen there, I haven't touched it yet, but if you put your hands here where they can be seen by the camera, it doesn't prompt you, which it was doing that before to a fashion. But before, even if I had my hands near the steering wheel, I did have to touch the steering wheel before it did an auto lane change, quite often. And yesterday I just kept my hand on my knee here like that, and I didn't touch the steering wheel for at least half an hour's driving. It was very different, and it had a very different feeling to the way autopilot worked. Not having to touch your steering wheel before it changed lane really made autopilot feel very, very different. It was very nice. So let's see how we get on with this drive, and I'll see if I can show you. So I'm just going to keep my hand on my knee here near the steering wheel. That should be in shot of the internal camera up there. And hopefully in a minute we can do a few lane changes. But it is rather busy at the moment. So while I'm waiting for the traffic to clear and I can do a lane change, does anyone know, do changes like this only happen with the installation of an over-the-air update, or does Tesla make little changes to the autopilot stack without you physically installing an update? Because I read somewhere that possibly they might do, but I don't really know enough about that. So is it possible Tesla made this little change to the driver awareness detection without being part of an over-the-air update? I'm not sure. If you do know, let me know in the well, do that hand. Let me know in the comments below. So it's asking me to touch the steering wheel because I've had my hand away from the steering wheel, and I was also looking down at the screen to make it full screen there. So as you can see today, I'm still having to touch the steering wheel, and again there. But is that because I'm looking at the screen or swiping the screen? It seems to be different today compared to what it was yesterday. Yesterday there was a marked improvement with the way the driver awareness system was working. Look, it's asking me to touch the steering wheel again. Definitely wasn't doing that yesterday. That's strange. Yesterday I did 2 1-hour 15-minute drives, and genuinely I was driving for 20 25 minutes between steering wheel touches. It was incredible. Never experienced anything like it. But it's not working like that today. It's just weird. So how can autopilot be working so different one day compared to another day? Just doesn't make any sense. So I'm just going to top the car up because I get free lifetime supercharging on this car, and then we'll get out on the A34 again and try that all again. What we can do is go into the service mode . And we can see what that internal cabin camera sees. So got to remind myself where it is. Cameras, there we go. And camera preview. And click cabin at the top there. So I was driving with my hand on my knee there, and as you can see, it's just out of shot. But this one, which I was ignoring, I was putting down on the door, that's the one that it's detecting. I thought it was this one. So that's the hand which has got to be near the steering wheel. This hand, it can hardly see. So on the drive next, I will concentrate more on my right hand and keep that up at the steering wheel. Oh dear, that isn't a very nice view, is it?
I feel that YouTube is broken. We don't get proper notifications from channels we're subscribed to unless you're using the mobile app. Many subscribers to the channel do not see new videos. I realise not all videos are for everyone, but the channel currently has over 36,000 subscribers, yet some videos are only seen by a few hundred subscribers. So I've set up a new mailing list to overcome this problem. Go to newvideos.co.uk and add your email address to get an email informing you of new videos on this channel. You won't get bombarded with unwanted emails. It'll be no more than a weekly roundup email.
So let's give this another go. This time concentrating more on where my right hand is near the steering wheel and not my left hand. And keen-eyed viewers will see that my battery is at 100%. Well, it's 99% now. And that's because I've got an LFP battery, and with the LFP you should charge it to 100% every week or so to calibrate it, and that's what I do on the supercharger, and it's perfectly fine to charge your car to 100% on the supercharger. We are facing the sun now, so I hope that sun visor is out of shot, and I hope you can see, because we're going to be facing the sun all the time now. So let's put in a destination, which is Southampton, where I went yesterday. I'll put autopilot on. I'm going to put the speed to 70, which apparently you can hold down the stalk. No, that's not working now, so I'm going to use the right scroll wheel. Change that to 70. There. So this time I'm going to keep my hand on my knee. My right hand I'm just going to put near the steering wheel, again resting on my knee. I'm going to accelerate myself now because I'm taking rather small gap there, and I had to accelerate much faster than autopilot allows you to. Right, so we're set at 70. We're on autopilot. I'm going to keep my right hand near the steering wheel, keep my left hand off the steering wheel on my knee, and we'll see how long that takes before it prompts me to touch the steering wheel. So we're at 11:38 at the moment. and I'll try to not to look at the screen too much, and obviously not touch the steering wheel at all. And hopefully in a minute we can do a lane change, and I can show you that we don't need to touch the steering wheel now to do a lane change. Right, we should be able to go in the left lane now. It hasn't prompted me yet. There it is, it's prompted me. So I've had to touch the indicator obviously, and there we go. We've done a lane change and I haven't yet touched the steering wheel. And it's only a small thing, but it feels so much better when you don't have to touch the steering wheel. It just makes autopilot really feel like it's doing it on its own. Whereas if you've got to briefly touch the steering wheel, that extra bit of driver input sort of degrades the feeling of it a little bit. And as I said yesterday, I experienced this for a long time and it just felt so different. Right, it's asking me for lane change. Look at that, it's asking me now to touch the steering wheel. I didn't. It did the lane change before I touched it, so it was quite happy. So that was me just moving my hand was enough. So we could ignore that one. So what I'll be interested to know, has anyone else experienced autopilot behaving differently in the UK in the last week or so? Has Tesla made a change here? Or have I just been driving with my right hand in a slightly different position and the camera detection is working as it always was, but it's now seeing my right hand better? I don't think that's the case. But as we're driving at the moment, I'm keeping my right hand quite high, and even though it just prompted to touch the steering wheel, my hand slightly moved because we went over a bump, and it was happy with that. So I haven't touched the steering wheel for, what's it been, 4 minutes now. And to me, this feels different. To be fair, I've usually concentrated on where my left hand is, thinking the camera can see my left hand. But I've now confirmed the camera can really only see my right hand on this lower part of the steering wheel. So it could be me, but I don't think it is. I'm pretty sure there's been a change because I haven't changed my seat position. I haven't changed where my hands sit. And over 2.5 hours driving yesterday, I've noticed a big difference, and I'm sure that wasn't just the way my hands were placed. Right, now it's prompted me to touch the steering wheel, and I could put my hands up high. There we go. That's got rid of it. That's interesting. Right, I'm going to do a lane change. It's asking me to touch the steering wheel. Look at that, it cancelled. There's a car behind me as well. I bet they found that annoying. Right, that cancelled because I hadn't touched the steering wheel, or it hadn't detected my input quick enough. That's one of the regulations which stipulates it must do that. So it's asking me to touch the steering wheel again. I still haven't touched it. All I've done is move my hands around it. So that isn't anything new, should I say. It's been doing that for a few months now. Right, do I want to force a lane change? That bus is moving ahead. No, I'll stay in the outside lane. Right, it's asking me to touch the steering wheel. I am going to touch it there, just because I'm concentrating on rather a lot of things here. That car just undertook me. And there's quite a bit going on behind me. But anyway. Yeah, it's asking me to touch the steering wheel again. So the frequency that it wants an input has suddenly increased. Is that because I'm not looking out the windscreen so often? I'm looking in the rearview mirror, looking down at the screen? I suspect so. Look, it's asking me again. I'm now wondering, has anything actually changed? But then, how come I drove for 1 hour and 15 yesterday on dual carriageways and motorways, and genuinely only had to touch the steering wheel 3 times. I've just not experienced anything like that in this Tesla before. Just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, so I'm having to touch it again, put my hand up. Still not touched it, but moving my hand has... God, look at this. Braking beside this truck, or behind this truck. That's the phantom braking. It's not serious, but it's not good. Right. Still not touched it, but I'm having to move my hands. So in reality, on autopilot, you're still driving the car. You've got to be in control of the car, and it is more natural just to rest your hands on the steering wheel, but not steer, rather than holding your hands up and doing all of this, which I'm doing in the video. I'm only doing it so you can see that I'm not touching the steering wheel. I did just give it a little touch there to force it to move over, because the car's coming up behind me quite quickly. And there he goes beside me. So in this video I wanted to show you that something's changed with autopilot, but I'm having second thoughts now, because look at that, it's asking me to touch the steering wheel to make a lane change, and because I hadn't done it quick enough, it cancelled the lane change, so I had to force another one. So maybe something hasn't happened. There's a smash on that side of the road, and the smashed that car sitting in the outside lane. Right, autopilot then was braking because that lorry had its indicator on to come out. That was interesting. He wasn't moving out, but autopilot was heavily braking to allow him to move out. So let's put autopilot back on, put my speed to 70. So I think I'll upload this video anyway, even though I haven't proved a new feature that I thought I've seen, because it's acting completely different today compared to what it was doing yesterday. But anyway, some people might find this interesting. You can see how autopilot works, how automatic lane changing works if you've got enhanced autopilot, and how the driver awareness system works, and that's either touching the steering wheel, monitoring where your hands are, or it's also monitoring what your eyes are looking at and your head location, and it can tell when you're looking out the side window, the mirror, looking down at the screen, or doing other things. It's very clever. But one thing that is for sure is the driver detection system is very different today to what it was yesterday. And sometimes it's asking me to touch the steering wheel quite a bit. Other times it will go for a very long time without asking me. And what I'm sort of proving now on this second drive is it's not necessarily where my right hand is. So I guess the algorithm is also looking at what my eyes are doing as well. And it's a whole combination of things that it determines how often it wants a bit of physical feedback. Like then, I just touched the steering wheel and straight away it prompted me to touch the steering wheel again. So it is a bit strange. I can't quite yet find the pattern. So I'm just doing a lane change there without touching the steering wheel at all. So anyway, there we go. I'll leave it for now on this video. If you found it useful, please do click the thumbs up. If you want to know more about the Tesla Model Y, in the video description below will be a link to a playlist where you can see other videos I've made. I've also got a separate playlist just on Enhanced Autopilot if you'd like to learn more about that and about lane changes, which it's doing exactly now. Okie doke. I will see you on the next one. And I've got to find a different route back because I don't want to sit in all of this traffic. There is now 2 accidents on that side of the A34, even though they're not showing yet on the map, not showing the hold-ups. So I've got to find a different way back to avoid all of that. Anyway, I'll see you on the next one.
The videos I make on this channel are primarily to help others and share knowledge. If you found a video helpful, please show your appreciation by at least clicking the thumbs up button, and leaving a comment also helps too, as does subscribing to the channel. All of this is free of charge. I do not use paid memberships or Patreon, which is how most YouTubers earn their money. I only earn from the YouTube ad commissions. But under every video on this channel is a super thanks button. So if you found a video particularly useful, or maybe it saved you money or time, then please consider a donation using the super thanks button. You could buy me a coffee, a pint, or contribute to the running cost of this channel. There's over 1100 videos on this channel now, so please have a browse, use the search, and have a look at the playlists.